CoryxKenshin just recently released a comic book, which he is calling it a manga. The only reason I know of this is because I have a younger brother who really enjoys CoryxKenshin. And I guess as of recently, he had made a return video showcasing he is indeed back. But there is a twist to the video. It's actually a trailer to his comic or manga that he has been working on, I'm guessing, for 2 years, called Monsters We Make. And honestly, Cory is very clever for staying silent and keeping his fans in the dark while he worked on this project, only to return to his platform and release a very high quality animation trailer announcing his new comic. Now, at the time of making this video, his return video has racked up 14 million views, which honestly is expected for someone with his caliber of subscribers and fan base. So obviously the views on the video are not because he released a new comic he is calling a manga, but it's because of the content he is known for doing, which are try not to laugh videos, let's plays, and comedic skits. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I have a younger brother who really likes this guy. I do know of CoryxKenshin. I maybe watched one or two of his videos in the past. I know the guy is very humbled, but other than that, my brother was like, "Hey Tim, you do art stuff. CoryxKenshin just came back and released a new manga. You should read it," which I was confused about. I know this guy does gaming let's play videos, but for him to stay silent, go in the dark, and come out with a whole new comic, and is marketing the hell out of it, now he's caught my interest. So I did see the I did see the animation video announcing the comic. And the first thing I thought was like, hold on, who did this animation? Because it is really top notch. And the people behind it are indeed an animation studio based in London, England called The Line. And they have worked with big names, like recently they did an animation for, I'm guessing, the new Warframe game called Warframe 1999, and they also worked with Overwatch. So these guys are a legit animation studio with very skillful artists. So Cory was also very clever in picking this studio, making animation for his comic. Granted, he is sitting on top of all that YouTube money, so he does have the resources to really push his ideas to any creative direction he sees fit. However, it's going to take more than a high quality studio to do a high quality animation of your so called high quality manga. That's why I'm here today. I really want to see how good his comic is. Now to get it out the way, by all means, I'm not trying to hate on Cory. I really am looking at his comic here non-biased as possible. Like I said before, I think the guy is really humble and a nice person. But we're not here for Cory. We're here for Monsters We Make, and I will put his comic through the ringer. Just in case if anyone is new here and doesn't know who I am a YouTube channel who mainly focuses on making art tutorials and focusing on all things art related. I am an artist and I know a thing or two when it comes to drawing and what makes a good drawing good. Cory claims his manga is really that good, but I have my doubts. Personally, I consider Berserk to be the best manga of all time, but that's just me. So first impressions on our band of character designs. I honestly think they all look generic. I think out of all of them, I do believe Alicent is the most fleshed out. Even going through the entire comic, I could really tell the artist really enjoyed drawing her. And honestly, probably enjoyed drawing her more than the rest of the main group. These are some of my favorite panels of her in the comic. Just to let people know, I am going to be talking spoilers. So if for whatever reason you don't want to get spoiled, go read the comic first. So to start from the beginning, our story takes place in this cyberpunkish city known as New Eden, where this evil company called Sonata exists. Pretty much the same vibes of Arasaka from the cyberpunk game or anime. This comic tries to be scary at times with its horror illustrations, but honestly just comes off flat and trying to be like a Junji Ito. When it comes to the gore in this comic, I feel like at times it loses its identity because of it. At one moment, you're reading the comic and you're getting like maybe a My Hero Academia manga vibe, but then you get a panel of some gore and it immediately shifts the vibe of the story, and not in a good way. Like it's very inconsistent. Like the story is trying to be all these things at once, but it just doesn't work. Our main character is Jabari, and looking back at some of the behind the scenes, I personally think this design looks so much better for the character versus what we got in the end. Also, I think there were power-up suits look really bland. Like, these designs with the red look so much better than what we got. Like, keeping the color red for the suit works so much better than blue. The suits the characters have immediately had me thinking of Nickelodeon's Glitch Tech. Now coming back to Jabari, I'm really not a fan of his personality. He's like a mix of Static Shock and Miles Morales. He's over cocky and he's just broken for no reason. The story does try to give him a sad backstory of wanting to help out his family and also looks up to his father and wants to make him proud. Jabari also has a natural talent for music. It also just so happens to be his tuning. Tuning is the name of the abilities in the story. In my opinion, I think it sounds lame. I feel like they could have came up with a better name than that. Tuning sounds like a last minute name for the abilities, and I find it funny how Jabari uses sound for his powers, and the power in the stories are called tuning, like he's tuning his sound. Anyways, this later is explained by another side character called Han. His abilities or tuning is tech. He's your nerdy computer holding laptop character. And his design I like the least. They straight up designed my man to look like Ben 10, and I can't unsee it. Next, we have September, which is pretty much the love interest for my boy Jabari. There's not much to say about this character other than that she's just super nice all around. You know, the type of character that's like, we can do it, guys, and everybody stop fighting and work together. Her tuning is pretty much plant based. Just think of like Poison Ivy, and that's her. Yeah, she's just a very bland character, very much the nice girl, but also if you get on her bad side, she will mess you up. After that, we have Liam, which is the captain of the group, and also the rival to Jabari. Throughout the story, not much is said or known about the guy. He's just that one mysterious cool dude that, is just broken. From the trailer that was released, it shows that he can briefly see into the future, or at least see where the next moves of his opponent's gonna be. He uses a sword to slash and dash his enemies. Also, he holds like the best record in the academy that Jabari goes to, which is called New Eden Academy. It was just a training course. And lastly, we go back to Alicent. She is pretty much the tank of the group. She hits hard with her fists and tends to have an attitude most of the time. She makes it very clear she does not like Jabari and downright hates it when she loses to him. She comes in more of the bully type of girl in the series, kind of like your Sakura to your Naruto, which is kind of weird because in some moments it can feel like she has feelings for him, but instead decides to just pick on him. Now, with that said, let's talk about some of the positives with the comic. There are some things in the comic I feel like aren't too bad. The best moment in the comic for me, hands down, is when Alicent was fighting the monster. Also, the monsters in the story are called Leakers, just to let you know. But towards the end of the volume, Alicent decides to take on the entire monster by herself. I do think that fight is the best in the entire book. There was a moment I was kind of on the edge of my seat, thinking she just might die here. I have to admit, I did have some relief when the rest of the team showed up and she didn't get killed. But some of the lines she has between Jabari can come off as a bit cringe and generic. Now, as for the art in the comic, I know how hard it can be to emulate that Japanese art style in a comic book, especially if you're not a native Japanese artist. I want to say shout out to all the artists that did work to bring Cory's vision to life. But sadly, the comic, while it does clearly take inspiration from Japanese comics known as manga, it just happens to look like your generic westernized anime slash manga look. It looks like your Avatar, your Boondocks, without really looking like a Japanese mangaka did it. But hey, they get my respect for trying. There are only a few artists I know that aren't Japanese that can really pull the look off. One of those artists being like Tony Valente, Kuzumari, and guys like Boichi. The comic does come to an end with the team killing the main monster you see in the animation trailer and going out to get something to eat, to where they officially acknowledge the bar being part of the team and snag a group picture together, while doing some foreshadowing about a mysterious villain character going into Volume 2. Now, with that said, what do I think of the comic as a whole? I think Cory has a lot to learn about the craft. It just goes on to show you that writing is a skill, and that just because you play a lot of video games and watch a lot of anime doesn't necessarily mean you can write a hit series. But by all means, I'm not telling him that he should give up. I think he should see the story through and let it be a learning opportunity for him. I think he's just excited to have a story out that he can call his own and going through what we like to call the honeymoon phase. But by all means, it is not the next best thing. I heard some people saying it was like a Jujutsu Kaisen. I disagree with that. While I do think Jujutsu Kaisen is mid, and I personally think it's alright, it is leaps and bounds better than Monsters We Make. I give the comic a 5.7 out of 10. I do think Corey has a lot to work on in terms of story writing and telling, and I do believe this is the perfect example of just because you have this idea in your head and the money to back it up doesn't mean you're gonna have like the best story ever written without the fundamental skills to back it up.
Has to be good. I have read so much manga, watched so much anime where like the story was fire. I'm just on this adventure, this roller coaster. And
I personally think some of the best black manga creators right now are White Manga and DD Mark. These guys have been going at it hard with their works for a minute now, and I think Corey could learn a lot from these guys' work. With that said, do I believe Monsters We Make deserves an anime? No. However, does Corey have the YouTube money to make that happen regardless? Possibly. Now go read Berserk, the best manga of all time.